Hi everyone, it's Catherine McIntosh with Listed, and I'm so pleased today to be here with Wilson Hon with eXp Realty. He's one of the first people to ever get listed. Wilson, thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me here. An honor. Yeah.
Oh, and I love how, we decided we were meeting today, which was great.
Yeah.
And then I got to come to the brokerage early because it's nearing the end of the year, and you had a brokerage meeting with everyone that's business planning.
Yes.
I didn't know what an icon you are. Like, I know you're amazing, but your presentation this morning was fabulous.
You know what? I'm not a speaker. I'm not good at talking in front of people or even doing things like this, like a podcast. But I think it's because I'm just part of this kind of environment that it pushes me to kind of want to help other agents, and it pushes me to do these kind of things that I would never dream of doing, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been good. It's been good. Yeah.
I love that you're motivated to do that naturally, because that's one of the things that first struck me is you get excited about something and then you jump into it 100%.
Oh yeah. Once I'm excited about something and I see, because I want other people to see it. It's like, hey, it's helping me. I want it to help you too. So I want to kind of spread it, right? If it's good. If it's not good, I don't want to spread it at all. I don't want to tell anyone about it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because
Exactly.
I just want to help everyone.
I know. That was very clear and apparent to me. So funny enough, I have to say, I think we should tell everyone how we met.
Yeah.
I was looking for a condo for my mom to rent for her because when she first moved from out west and came to Toronto, we just needed a safe, great place for her to land that was near me and my brother.
Yeah.
And it was your listing.
Yeah. So that's we basically met when we did the key exchange, right? And I was just saying how when you gave me your application for rent, it was so professional. It had a very nice letter, it had photos and everything, and I'm like, oh my God, this is one of the most professionally done rental applications I've ever seen. And I told my landlord, I'm like, you have to rent it to this person. There's absolutely no reason to say no here, right? And that's how we met.
Yes.
Everything happens for a reason, I think.
It really does.
Yeah,
it really does. And that's what struck me because it's one of those condos where it has the little island in the middle. You were on one side, I was on the other side.
Yeah.
And I don't know what pushed me to all of a sudden say, hey, have you heard of Listed?
I thought you just do that to everyone. Like every agent you meet, you're just trying to sell it, right? So, and when you first mentioned it, I was thinking, I'm like, I thought you were just asking for tips.
Feedback.
Because I knew you're a realtor. I didn't know your background or anything, right?
Yeah.
So I thought you're just a realtor kind of looking for tips on, hey, what app do you use to look for properties, right? Besides the MLS.
Yeah.
So I thought I was doing you a favor. I'm like, oh, let me show her what I use, right? And then right after I showed you mine, you showed me yours. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Whoa, wait. Okay, so now the tables have turned. I'm like, you got something way better than what I'm using right now.
Yeah, it's so funny. So I am a realtor, but I'm not a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the key things is, to be able to even ask you, hey, what do you use? And here's the problems you have. And to be able to understand that and then to have created Listed so that it does solve your problem, which is finding information quickly, staying connected to your clients, right? Not having anything in the way of you doing business.
Mm-hmm.
So when I showed you Listed,
I was impressed.
the light bulb went off.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got it right away.
Because I just saw how easy it was to use and how user-friendly. It just looked nice, right? It wasn't messy. And I said, look, this is amazing, right? Just the way you were. And it loaded very quickly.
Yeah.
That's what impressed me, right? Because I was using the other apps like House Sigma and Real Master. Those were the two that I was showing you that I was using, right? Because I wasn't using the MLS one because that one was just archaic. And I showed you those. But when I saw yours, I'm like, oh my God, it's loading so fast and it's just very smooth the way you're like swiping to like it and not like it. I'm like, that's kind of cool, right? That's like the other app with the dating app, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but with properties, I'm like, that's who's not gonna like to use that, right?
It's
That's
just
fun. Yeah. So it's fun and easy to use.
Which is key. Because if your clients don't like it,
They're not gonna
cares?
use it. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what it does. If your clients don't like it, it doesn't keep you connected, you're not going to use it.
Exactly.
And you're certainly not going to pay for it.
Exactly.
That was the thing that I loved about you is that you not only got it right away, you invested all your time in it. You wanted to pay for it. And I think people don't realize that is that, you know, when their realtors are supplying like a quality experience from the way that you do a listing, from you invest in coaching, you're coaching others. You're always investing in yourself, and getting listed was one part of the total package of what makes you amazing.
Yeah, it's just enhancing the customer service for your
Right.
clients, right? Like you want, I mean, there were times where the clients would know more than me because they had, you know, whatever app they're using, House Sigma, Real Master, and they would be showing me, you know, we're looking at a house, they're like, oh, it's worth this much, or look, the house down, there's another house down the street. I didn't know about it. Right? It just came out on the market. I didn't know about it because I was using the MLS and there was no app for me to use. So I was forced to use the same app they were using just to be on the ball with them, right?
Which is a competing brokerage.
Which is another brokerage. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, why am I using another brokerage's app? It doesn't make sense, right? Why can't like, you know, MLS come up with anything good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you know, MLSs have recently, and including Treb, committed to a front end of choice.
Oh, okay.
So at some point, you might actually see listed offered at the MLS level alongside Realm or other products.
Oh, okay.
We're special because we're not a brokerage and we're not an ad portal. We saw a gap in the market where, like you said,
Yeah.
agents didn't have their own tool or their own MLS tool to use with clients.
Yeah.
And we think they should.
Yeah, especially in this day and age, because with technology, it was just baffling that we don't have something good that we can use, right? It didn't make sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are people who are in their later years and they know how to Google things.
Yeah.
And they have it. We did an interview with a woman who is in her 70s and her kids put it on her phone for her.
Okay.
And all she knows is to do the one thing of tapping the button and the listing pops up.
Yeah,
and she likes to
yeah.
walk in the neighborhood and tap the button.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
she can
yeah.
have it pop up.
Yeah.
And
Because
she
she's
can-
probably out for walks all the time. She's
She
like,
is.
she does it for a sale sign.
Yeah.
She's not going to call the agent, right?
Yeah.
So how else can she? Oh, that's neat.
And then when she has a question about it,
Yeah.
it was so cute because I said to her, if you have a question about it, what do you do? And she looked at me like I was like, what do you think I do? I just tap my
Press
agent.
the call. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just call them.
Yeah.
And so it was really cute.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Okay, well, this is fantastic. So you've actually had it for a while now listed and are using it with your clients. Are they loving it?
Yeah, so my clients, they love it because there's just interaction between me and them.
Right.
Because I can see what they like, I can see what they're looking at, I could send lists to them. So, for example, before when I take them out to see properties, for example,
Yeah.
for buyers, right? So for buyers, I would take them out to see properties and I would go on the MLS, I would find all the properties that they want to see, and I would have to print them out on paper, right? And then with paper, sometimes it's raining, it gets all crumply and wet and stuff. So I would print two stacks, one for myself and one for the client, which is kind of a waste of paper and ink too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're looking at 10 properties, that's 20 pages right there, right?
Yeah.
And then I would give them the paper, and then sometimes they would lose the paper, they would leave it at the other house. So it was very unorganized. But now I actually use the app to manage my showings.
Oh, great.
Because I would create a list of our showings that day. So let's say I have those 10 houses I'm showing that day.
Yeah.
I would create a showing list for, let's say his name's, I don't know, it's John,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
John showing list. And then I would just simply forward that list to my client,
Yeah.
which they have a phone,
Yeah.
right? Everyone has a phone nowadays. And he would get it on his phone, and he loves it. He's like, "Oh, you don't need to print it. Oh, you just send it to me. Oh, that's okay. So we're starting at the first house. Okay, yeah, I'll meet you there. It's really easy, and they can make notes on it,
Great.
right? They
Yeah.
could, so they don't need do you have a pen? I want to try to write on a piece of paper on the countertop at the kitchen or something.
Yeah.
They can just type it in, like rate the house after you see it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, just rate it a 4 or 5 or whatever you think it is. If you like it, make notes. Like, oh, what did you like about it? Okay, you like the kitchen was upgraded, whatever. And they can always refer back to it,
Yeah.
right? And then I could see, hey, like it, and then I could see what they liked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's fantastic, right?
That's great. Yeah. And then if you update it and they click the link, it's updated for them as well. So I like that it's the
Yeah.
engagement.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, because sometimes we would go out on a few appointments to see houses, and I just added to the same list.
Yeah.
So we could always look back, and let's say it was 2 weeks later, I added more houses to the list to go see, but I could always go back and see, hey, remember that house we saw 2 weeks ago? It sold, and he could see the sold prices right there. Oh yeah, I remember that one. Oh, that one actually sold for that price. Okay, so it gives them a better understanding of prices too. They don't have to ask me, oh, remember that one we saw last time? What did it sell for? I don't know. I have to, let me go on MLS and check, right? Because sometimes we're busy, we can't follow up as much as we want,
Exactly.
right? But that app gives them the power to just see it at a glance.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when they reach out to you, it's a conversation about price that's more elevated because you
Yeah.
have the basic information.
And sometimes they'll be like, oh, I just saw, like, I was looking back at that list, and I remember that we saw that house 2 weeks ago, and I see, hey, it's still for sale. It didn't sell. They actually dropped the price,
Yeah.
right? So then, it's happened where they're like, okay, let's go back to that one, and let's put an offer on it.
See, that's key.
Yeah.
When you're so connected and it's triggering a success for one of your clients, like them being able to get a house they wouldn't have got otherwise, perhaps.
Especially in, like, a seller's market where
Right.
timing is everything.
Yeah.
This app is, like, super helpful just because you're getting alerts right away.
Yeah.
And I remember before having this app, I felt bad because the clients would call me and say, hey, I just saw a new house come out and let's go see it right away. And I felt bad because, like, I didn't know about it. I should have knew about it.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
should be the one calling you, telling you that this house just came out because I know you're desperately looking for a house.
Yeah.
Now it makes me look like I'm not on the ball.
Right.
Right? But like we as agents, we're dealing with multiple clients at the same time
Yeah.
in different neighborhoods. So it's hard for us to keep track of everything if we don't have the right tools.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This just makes you more efficient. So you're a champion.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dealing with, and that you brought it up about the relevance of time. Like timing is everything.
Is everything. Yeah.
Even in a buyer market where it's deceiving because something might be sitting for a really long time, and then like Andy, who's
Yeah.
your partner, who's so great,
Yeah.
right? He was talking about how he took a languishing listing and turned it around and sold it in days for more than anyone had got recently
Yeah.
on that listing. And it's because he's using strategy. And I really love how in a buyer market where things are slow, when it gets relisted, action can now happen quickly again as if it's a seller market.
Yep.
And so he sold it in 2 days, and somebody else would have missed out on that.
Exactly. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So you did really good with that. Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting because one of the things we wanted to make sure that happens is that you reach the listing agent and your clients reach you. So, listed supports organized real estate. And I just think that's a really important thing to note for everyone, because when I was talking with you and said, you saw the value for yourself, you said, actually, no, I saw the value for my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Everything you're doing is for them.
Yeah.
So in a way, everything we're doing is for you.
Yeah. It's just,
I
that's the way it goes, right?
I
Like,
love it. That's this alignment.
because that's our job, right? Our job is to provide, above and beyond
service.
service. So
Yeah.
how can we do that if we don't have the right tools, right? These tools help us give better service to our clients. Yeah.
Yes, and I love that you reflect that in everything you do. So you've surrounded yourself by an amazing team of colleagues.
Thank you.
And then you keep passing it down. You're taking young realtors who essentially you compete with, and you're making yourself available
Yeah.
to help them, to walk them through it. Right? That, again, in a strange way, is for your clients, because there must not be a realtor you've met that doesn't love you and wouldn't be happy to do a deal with you.
Yeah, I hope not. I don't know.
I mean, that really speaks volumes and goes a long way with you serving your clients when you have both a great professional reputation and you're willing to go above and beyond for the clients you have currently.
Thank you.
Now, do you have any clients that are not even yet in Canada. They're in some other place, and they're thinking of coming here because they can also use listed with you from
So
abroad.
I've actually used in the past listed a lot with other clients, and for them it was super helpful because
Great.
they can use it in their country wherever they're from.
Yeah.
I was dealing with a few from India and
Yeah.
then a few from Asia,
Yeah.
and they were able to use the app and see everything.
That's
Right,
great.
so they can check prices on their own and do research on their own. They felt bad for asking me all the time, and with this app, it gives them the power to do their own research. That sometimes that they feel that they want to bother us with, right? They don't want to bother us with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it in
Just
some
educates
ways,
them, right?
Yeah,
So when they
exactly.
come, they're a little bit more prepared. Like, hey, I know that area. I know the prices in that area, right? This within my budget or not within my budget, and it helps them narrow their search on their own.
Exactly, from pricing to learning the areas
Yep.
and being connected to you because they're seeing and connecting with you as if they're already here, as if you've already met with them, creating affinity.
And it's very easy to use. I think there's also like a button that you can just go to the virtual tour, I think,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so for them it's amazing because they can just go to the Matterport tour by just a click. I'm like, hey, just if they have a Matterport, it's there, just click it and I'll bring you right there, and it's super easy for them.
Yeah.
And they could just see the house without even being here. They're like, oh, yeah, I saw it, I like it, right? Yeah.
One of the things we added on the property detail page
Okay.
is a little inset map that's under the price, and it helps you get directions. And if you tap that, you can actually now see it. Like you can see the street view, but my favorite thing is to see it in 3D.
Oh, yes.
Have
You
you
can see.
used
I was playing with that. Yes, that was pretty cool. I was actually showing one of my clients because we were trying to figure out, hey, what's behind this thing? Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what I'm
Is
like.
it train
Let me.
tracks or a lake?
And I was
Yeah.
playing. I didn't know they had a 3D thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute, what's this? And I'm like, oh, it has 3D. I'm like, oh, look. So it's like the building is this high or whatever. And I was
Yeah,
showing
and
them.
you can pull your fingers down.
Yeah,
and pinch
yeah,
to go
and you could do
vertically
like this kind of view. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool, right? And they were pretty impressed. Yeah.
Nice. Have any of your clients discovered the commute feature? Where on a property,
Uh-huh.
it says commute, and you can tap it and add a location. So, for example, if one of the partners is traveling all the time, they might want to make it to the airport and then
Okay.
maybe to the child's daycare. So on every listing, it'll calculate the distance from up to 3 locations that they travel to frequently.
Is
On
that
every listing?
is that on ours or their
Oh,
on the
yours.
users?
Oh, both of yours.
I don't think I've.
Oh, see, this is so great.
When did you update that one?
Oh, this is so terrible. It's been a long time.
Okay. So it was a while ago.
It's a while ago.
I don't think I played with that yet.
It's, you know what? It's so funny. It's so rich,
Uh-huh.
and then people use just what they need. So
Yeah.
it's simple at the same time, but it's also rich in the number of things you can do. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess people are discovering every day different
Yeah.
things they can
There's
do
a-
with
there's a
it.
lot of
Are you
features to
constantly
use.
discovering new things with it?
I am. Yeah. And then even last time, I think you told me you got to update it. I'm like, I haven't updated it for a while. And then once I updated it, I'm like, holy smokes, it's got all these new features and everything. I'm like, great, right?
We actually update it quite a bit.
You
so
did,
you
okay.
should
So
put
maybe
automatic
I might
update
have
on.
to update it again. I don't know, right? Maybe I'm missing out. Yeah.
And earlier we were talking about prices and,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a seller market or a buyer market, it's a stressful purchase sometimes or
Mm-hmm.
sale because you want to sell for a good price and know that you got the best deal if you're buying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very big transaction,
Yeah.
right, for either the seller or the buyer. It's a big
Yeah.
asset, and it's a lot of money involved, right? It's not
Exactly.
like you're buying a shirt from a store, right? So there's a lot of
For
emotions
sure.
involved, right? We're almost like psychiatrists at the end of the day, right? There's a lot of
Really?
emotions we got to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah, and because of that, from our side on the app, we wanted to make things very easy to use and almost fun. Back to how you said that matching and swiping. The more that it's simple and easy for them to mark what they like, they subconsciously kind of just have less pressure.
Yeah, because it's fun to use, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just like any app with doing anything, right? For example, like an accounting, a receipt app,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I've used, like for capturing receipts for our accounting,
Yeah.
I've used some that are so horrible and I hated doing it because I'm like, oh, I got to go click this, do this, snap the thing, and then add this. And then a new one comes along where it's very easy to use. I just snap it, it scans everything by itself, and it's saved. Then it just makes it a little bit more enjoyable, right?
Right.
Like with anything, right? Just the way you use an app, it makes a huge difference.
It does.
Yeah.
Like your example is great. You take something like accounting, which maybe everyone's not thrilled to go
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And then if you're done it quicker and it seems easy, it just makes
You'll do it right away.
Yep.
Right? Before I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to keep the receipt in my pocket. Then by the end of the month, I have like 30 receipts that I have to like individually scan. But now, because the new one I've been using, it's so easy, I'll do it right away. It's quick, right? I have my lunch, get my receipt, click it, it's done.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah. So
exactly.
same thing like that. Same thing with listed. It's really easy to use. I could find a property. Hey, I drove by a property. Sometimes I do that. I drive by a property. I'm like, that looks like a nice house. I think some of my clients might like that. I would just click the location.
Yep.
The house would just pop up on my screen,
Yeah.
and that's it, right? And
You just
and
text
then
it over to them.
yeah, I could text it over to them. Hey, I just passed by this house. I just saw a for sale sign. Maybe it's something you're looking for, right? And it creates an opportunity for us to provide service to our clients.
Yeah, that's really great. That's really great because it's all about that staying connected.
Mm-hmm.
Like before you had this tool, if they're forced to go on some other app,
They might not want to do it.
they
right?
might not want to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And you're not connected to them. Like
Yeah.
it causes time and effort versus
Yeah.
being simple and easy.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the easy part. We brought up before about estimates and pricing and what things are going to cost. And what's nice on Listed is they can look at the sold and terminated history with you, and you can walk them through what something might cost. Have you or they tried the guess the price feature?
I did play that with, I think, maybe like 3 or 4 clients where we
Yeah.
tried to do this. So I could see what they guessed,
Yeah.
I think, right? Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
that was pretty cool, and I thought that was pretty neat. Because we're always doing that anyways,
Right. It's
right?
just natural.
It's like, hey, what do you think it's going to sell for?
Yeah.
Right? And then, I don't know, like, whatever, right? But now it's like, hey, what do you think it's going to sell for? Why don't you put it in the app, right? And then let's see if you're right. When it sells, it'll alert us, and let's see. It's kind of like a game, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. And at the same time, it keeps them, up knowledgeable about what's happening in the
Yeah.
market.
They
right?
learn in a stressless
Sometimes
way.
they'll be like, oh, I didn't think it would sell for that much. So then now they start thinking, they're like, okay, maybe I'm not, on the ball with what the market should be. It helps us do our job easier because now they can see, okay, I got to increase my budget if I want a house like that. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they can see it for themselves. I don't have to kind of force it down their throat.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which makes it less stressful because they're really seeing that it's the market.
Yeah, and we're playing a game at the end of the day, right? It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
learning at the same time, which is great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Have you ever had a situation that's not so fun
Mm-hmm.
where they've got an idea on some price estimate that a house is going to go for a certain amount, and then you're at offer night, and because they've been told or seen an estimate of what it's going to be, they just can't get over that they need to, and then they lose their dream home for $10,000.
Because they were going off what they saw on X, Y, Z.
Other site, which is basically a robot or an automated valuation.
I think
medium.
that was one of the major complaints I was getting from all the agents.
Yeah.
When the market was hot.
Right.
Like everything was a bidding war, everyone was guessing prices, and it always came up, House Sigma told me this house is worth this much. Why are you telling me to pay this much? But I mean, they like we're the professionals, but sometimes
You know the price.
we know the price. We know
Yeah.
we've been through experience. We know how the bidding wars work. We know like what kind of market we're in, and it's always changing. But
Yeah.
if you're looking at what an app is telling you, it's not changing with the market.
Right.
Right?
It's
just-
lagging.
it's lagging. It's taking old history, statistics,
Mm-hmm.
and using that to give you a price. And then I've had a lot of problems like with that. Like a lot of clients, they lost on their houses because
Yeah.
they didn't want to go up a little bit. They could have got their dream house, but
Yeah.
because they wanted to stick with what they saw on House Sigma, which they kind of trusted,
Yeah.
and they would lose the house. And then after losing a few, then they were like, okay, we understand now. Now we'll listen to you. Well, it's kind of too late, but it's not too late. But it's like you missed a couple good ones, right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
and
kind of hurting the market too.
And that's really key because it's not just the price, it's actually missing the home. Like when the
Yeah.
home is in the right neighborhood or next to where their friends live or in a
Yeah.
school district and they miss it.
Exactly.
That can be challenging.
So there's a lot of opportunity.
That's
for us
another thing
there,
we're
yeah.
adding. So in the new year,
Mm-hmm.
there's some really great things coming. One is going to be able to allow your clients and you to search by school district.
That's something that is, that's something that we need.
Yeah.
Because I know the other guys have it,
Yep.
right? So that's one thing, because that's one thing that they're still pulling up that I can't pull,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
The
school
school
district.
districts and all that stuff. So that's, and for some buyers, especially with families, that's one of the most important things they look at when they're purchasing homes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What district is it in? One of the challenging things with the school data, it's incredibly hard to get accurately.
Yeah.
So even in all the other apps, you still have to make sure.
Oh, yeah. Because even I had a client I just helped not long ago, and he was looking in Oakville, and there's certain schools there in neighborhoods that are very good,
Yeah.
but a lot of them have reached their capacity or they're at cutoff limit.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you buy in that house, but you know what? The house Sigma is still going to show them, hey, yeah, this house belongs in the school zone.
Right.
But I'm like, hey, no, double check that, because there are, caps and limits and stuff like that to these schools, right? So he almost bought a house, based on what House Sigma told him about the school. I said, no, before we put the offer, call the school, give him the address and double check. And
Yeah.
he did, and we did not end up putting an offer because we could not get into that school. So you have to be careful with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's what's really key is that any technology is just creating a base point from which, you have your discussion with your agent. Like you're every day dealing with multiple clients, seeing multiple properties. Nobody knows better than you what's happening in the market today. Right? Like as it's changing, you don't even have comparables from last week. If all of a sudden rates went up and now we're in a new market and maybe there's less inventory, there is no comparable from last week to even indicate what a house should go for.
Exactly. If no houses sold in the last 2 weeks, does it mean it's the same price as the one that sold a month ago, which is the
Right.
last comparable, which is basically the figures that it's going to be spitting out to you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even having been in a house and then seeing how renovated it is or if there's something going on with it that only
It doesn't
you know.
take those things into consideration, right?
Yeah.
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 Until someone comes up with an AI thing where the AI can do all that stuff,
Right.
then, it might be a little bit more reliable. But
Yeah.
until then, I guess. Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, you'll definitely have to update your app in the new year because we are actually working on an AI.
That's and I'm big on
Feature.
AI. Like, I think
Yeah.
AI is you have to
It's
be
just going
using
to be
it.
natural, like
Yeah.
using a phone.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason not to. We already artificially assist ourselves in so many ways.
I mean, a phone is AI, right?
A phone is AI.
Because it's an
absolutely.
extension of our brain.
Yep.
Because I can look up stuff, right? But without my phone, you ask me certain questions I can't answer, right? Because I don't have my phone on me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's this guy, Marshall McLuhan, who I love, and he says, man makes his tools and then our tools make us. And so we actually change because of the tools we use,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now we're more efficient. We can do more.
We're more knowledgeable. Yeah.
Having a light bulb allowed us to have hours of daylight extended past darkness.
Yep,
Like
yep.
technology is amazing.
Yeah, because back in the days, once it got dark, okay,
That was
I
it,
got
okay.
nothing else to do. I'm going to blow out this candle and go to bed. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as we get more and more technology, I think what becomes more and more powerful is I've got listed with Wilson Hon. Not everyone can have you or gets you. Not everyone knows you.
Yeah.
And, being connected to the right person and knowing that that person has your best interests at heart is just so vital. It makes all the difference.
It is. Yeah, definitely.
I know from the moment I met you, I saw that and felt that. I saw that in your passion for what you do, which is how we met.
Yeah.
Like you live in action.
Okay.
and then I saw you see listed and immediately recognized the value of it and how it could be of value to your clients.
Because I was always a tech guy. I was always looking for apps that would make things easier and better, you know,
Right.
for just me processing things or for my clients to use that could kind of connect us.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I'm kind of like, oh, like, why isn't everyone using, like, everyone should be using this because it's so good, right? It's so easy. It's easy for the clients. It's easy for the agent. It just makes the whole process a lot simpler.
Right.
Yeah.
And easy together as agents, because how easy is it for you to connect with your colleagues on listed as well as your clients? And I think that's really important, because I think a lot of innovative companies come up and they just see how they can make money for
Yeah.
themselves, and they disrupt industries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's arguable that real estate has needed some disruption, but it's one of these industries that, by being a historical institution, it has its own technology in the fact that it is organized, and that consumers can go to a trusted source where all the listings are, which is the MLS. I mean, that makes it different than so many other things. The MLS is the greatest technology of all time.
Yeah.
And so I think it needs to be cherished. And we saw that from the beginning. And I mean, I think that's why we get along so well, is that it's a tool that goes with the tide. It's
Yeah.
not swimming against the current.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It just makes it easier to access everything, basically, right? Access and manage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, so when you work with clients, whether, you know, they're starting out or whatever, what is the kind of secret sauce that makes them so lucky to have you?
I mean, secret sauce. I'm very just. I treat everyone just like I'm helping my own family member, and that's it, right? It's not. There's a lot of agents out there. They're very salesy. They're very pushy. They're like
so
salesmen at the end
genuine.
of the day. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's like you want to work with people that you like,
Yes.
right? It's just going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to make your job more enjoyable. And at the end of the day, you're helping someone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if someone doesn't want help from you, then I don't need to help them, right? I don't want to force it like you're not a number. I'm going to make money off this guy, so I have to deal with this guy even though I don't like him. No. It's a two-way relationship. We're going to help each other find your dream home or sell your home or whatever it is, right? So it's a It's a
Yeah.
long-term relationship. I want to build relationships, and that's why I don't do much prospecting or cold calling and things like that.
It's all inbound. People are
It's all
reaching
inbound
you.
people or just making relationships. Even
Yeah.
when I door knock,
Yep.
I'm not door knocking. It's not a sales door knock. It's just an introduction. Hey, I live in your neighborhood. I'll tell them where I live. I say, hey, I'm at 47 Holland Vista. I'm just down the street, right? Come by my house if you ever need anything,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I do. That's all I have to do.
You're
Yeah.
so genuine. Okay.
Yeah.
Being genuine. It's so nice that, in a way, that is your secret sauce, is that people
That's
feel
it.
that.
Yeah, that's it. I think because
Yeah.
even with doing social media, like I've started doing videos, and I'm like I had to be all professional and make sure it's perfect. Oh, I hate the way I sound. I hate the way I look. Oh, I'm saying too much. I don't sound like, I don't sound like those professionals I see. But then I'm like, no. But that's part of it. Like that's what people want to see. Like you being you, right? You
Yeah.
making mistakes. It's fine to make mistakes. It's okay, right? Yeah.
That's another thing I just love about you, because you're always busy. You have always stuff on the go. You will do anything if it's available to do in that moment. You're not wasting time. Like if it can be done now, you do it now. But you also really put your family first.
100%.
Yeah,
yes.
your family comes first, and your friends and colleagues come first. And I really felt that, even when we got the place for my mom, and
Yeah.
then when she was thinking of, okay, she was going to go live with my brother, and it was like time to have her move.
Yeah.
I remember just how helpful you are. You were all
Yeah,
about
even
making
with
it work.
tenants that they're not my clients, and
Yeah.
they might not even end up being my clients. They have an agent, but you know what? I'm going to go on my way just to make sure, because it's a big move for them too.
Yeah.
And like a lot of agents, like I'm not making money out of this thing. I'm not going to deal with it. You talk to the landlord. I'm out of this transaction. I
Yeah.
made my money. I'm gone. But with me, I want to make sure everyone's happy. I want to
Right.
make sure the landlord's happy that I'm representing. I want to make sure the tenant's happy, and he's going to take care of the place. And at the end of the day, everyone's going to be happy, and just not no problems. You can't avoid problems sometimes, but less problems, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I just want treat everyone with respect, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
precisely.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. On that note, so you are doing so much. I don't know how you have time for all of it, but even helping
I
these
don't.
other agents, you don't,
Don't.
right? You must get so energized and get so much back from it. Like you actually must be just learning so much by helping everyone and working.
It makes me feel good, right? At the end of the day, it makes me feel good that I can help people, right? And it's not that I have to, I got to help this guy, like whatever. It's like I want to help people. And people will call me, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and I'll pick up the phone because I know they need help because I've been there before.
Right.
And I knew how hard it was when I was at Remax. There was no one to help. And I would kind of have to figure it out. I'm like, who am I supposed to talk to? And then I have to wait till like the weekend, no one's to talk to. I wait till Monday to talk to someone, and then I might not get the best answer. So I always want to be there to, like, my office was always an open door.
Right.
People would, like, I would be the guy everyone came to for help with anything, right? They wouldn't be embarrassed to ask me like something, like a stupid question, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No stupid
Yeah.
questions. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's like even you and I have carried on that relationship for if you know that you can text our team or me.
Yeah, I
or
reach out to you sometimes. I'm
any-
like, hey, someone can't get access. Can you help me out? And you'll
Yeah.
help me out, right?
Yeah, it could be 5 a.m. If I'm up, I'll answer.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, she's like a CEO of this big thing, and she's actually replying to me and trying to help me out. That's crazy.
I carry the same value as you.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe that if something can be done now,
Just get it done.
Why put it off?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I just so much genuinely care that this tool that I love so much that I could see benefit so many people gets out in the world.
Yes.
And gets to everybody.
Yes.
I mean, I really would love
Right now, it's only in Canada, right?
only in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's
Very close to going into the US.
nice.
And
Okay.
then what's nice about the North American market is it's all part of organized real estate. And we're part of the Real Estate Standards Organization, which passes those data standards down to the 550
so everything is kind
MLSs.
of in line.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
And what's interesting is that the Data Standards Organization is now opening up
Okay.
and getting members from other countries like Spain and Portugal. And so I actually think we're going to see a global movement of agents being able to connect to reliable, accurate data
Mm-hmm.
served in a way that comes through, organized sources
Mm-hmm.
and then allows you to serve clients on the ground wherever they are
That would be
in
amazing.
your region
Yeah.
and then connect to each other in
I think
regions.
that's how things should be.
It's right.
You know what I
Doesn't it
mean?
just make sense?
Because we have the technology to do it, so why are we not doing it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, information should be shared with everyone, I think.
Right.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
why is it even a discussion?
Yeah.
Shouldn't this should have existed?
Like, because I can always go on Google and find out whatever I want anyway, so why don't you just make it more, readily available to the professionals that are actually, trying to do it the right way, right?
Exactly, because I think that's really what you're saving your clients is when a client has to go and Google something, they don't know if it's valid. Look how many listings are out there as if they're still available and they're not, right? Or it's inconsistent or it's just wrong data.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
that's where I think having accurate, reliable data
Yeah, it just makes it
matters.
harder for the customer,
Yeah.
and it's confusing.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just looking at like Treb, for example, we only have access to that one board.
Yeah.
So, but we have clients that are looking all over, like they want to buy a cottage, they want to move out of the city and go to another city,
Yeah.
right? But we can't find out that information for them to make their life easier.
It's
right?
almost like we built the industry based on our needs versus
Their needs.
their needs.
Yeah.
Or just the life journey of a person. Got a new job, getting married, having a child.
Mm-hmm.
They could stay in Ontario and their kid is going to university in another city and they want to get him a rental.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've dealt with that too. And back then I was like, well, I can't really help you because I don't have access to that board. I got to get permission from someone. And it was just, there's hurdles, right?
There's hurdles.
Yeah.
And you have all these colleagues, but even to be able to, then when you connect them to another colleague, it's like you're throwing them over a fence that you can't see
But
over.
even before when I was with Remax, because they're all independently owned, I don't really have a colleague out in, let's say, Waterloo, for example. I would have to
Right.
contact another Remax, which is under a different ownership, so it's not really, in line, right?
See, that's interesting too, because I don't think people understand. Well, we don't make it clear as organized real estate how organized real estate works. Like, for
yeah.
example, how many people do you think know, even if they just Googled a property, they can't see any property not connected to an agent?
That's correct, yeah, yeah.
Every property is represented, unless it's a for sale by owner on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's going to be the case, and 9 times out of 10 or 99 out of 100, it's not going to be the listing agent either. It's going to be advertised.
They're all ads, yeah.
They're all ads.
So I don't know who me as a client, why am I having trouble finding the agent responsible for selling this property?
Right.
It should be really easy,
It should be.
right? And that's it.
And when you do find them eventually, if you do find them,
Yeah, if you do find them, yeah.
they're the one person you shouldn't talk to because they represent the seller.
The seller, exactly, yeah.
So it all comes down to the fact, actually, they need one person who knows them and they trust that can represent them, which is you, right? Their agent. It just seems like so simple to put that together.
Yeah, that's right, that's correct.
Well, I would like to invite you to ask me anything or bring up anything that you want to talk about, because what I know for sure is that we both believe we only use technology to create the relationships and connection to make things easier for the people we're helping, right? So it's not the technology, it's the relationship.
Okay.
And people would do really well to have you as their agent. So is there anything you want to ask us about what's coming up with Listed, or talk about yourself? That
Yeah,
you're
no,
doing?
not about myself, but I guess more about, you've come this far,
Yeah.
right? And I've met your team, which is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I love that we had you.
Yeah,
meet the team.
and that was awesome that I actually got to input, myself as a user with my experience and what we can improve and whatnot. I think that was excellent.
It's actually because of you
Yeah,
that now when you go to alerts at the top, you can say
filter.
show only unread alert.
I saw that and I was like, oh my God, they actually listened to me, and this is great because I was having so much struggles trying to look for the missed alerts.
Oh yeah.
And because they wouldn't show up sometimes, and I would have to just keep scrolling and looking, right?
So when you say show only unviewed alerts, they
Everything
come
just
up
pops
together.
up. Yeah, and I could just quickly go through all of them and send them off to my clients and just have my conversations, and it just make things a lot easier, which is amazing.
you.
Thank you so much for that. That's amazing. Yeah. But yeah, so where do you see this in, I'd say like 5 years from now or 10 years, or a
Yeah.
long-term goal, right? Do you think it'll be worldwide used, or, I know you mentioned it's going to the States already, right?
Yeah. Our mission has always been to align the interests of organized real estate with consumers. So back to your core value and philosophy. How can I do what's going to help the people I'm serving? So aligning the interests through a tool that does that is our mission. But our vision, and our vision for growth, and our vision for the future is that you can, at a tap of a button, find any property anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I was in Scotland and I was so excited to be in the UK.
Okay.
And there was a property for sale on the corner. And
You're
to
just
me-
curious. You were like, how
Yeah.
much would something like that be worth anyways, right?
Exactly. It
Yeah.
looked like a mini castle.
Yeah.
I was like,
I've done that too. I've done that, but I'm like, I don't know how to find out that, right? Like, there's no way.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is when you do get some little way in to find out about it, you don't know what spam that's going to trigger, or
Like, you don't know what
What's
site
gonna-
that is, or
what's
like,
what's going to be happening.
who's
So-
going to call you if you press on that, or,
Exactly. So we want it to not only be easy, but for you to feel like you have a solid connection where you're always cared for, where it's a quality product that you can trust, where you're with the person you want to be with, getting what you need. So we'd love to see it worldwide.
I mean, it should be like that with real estate, right? I mean, because it's already like that in other industries. Like, if I want to look for, if I'm in whatever city around the world and I want to look for, restaurants,
Yeah.
I think there's apps for that I can just hop onto. I think Yelp does that. Does it do that? Or-
Yeah, you don't find a restaurant in another city and then it's a phantom restaurant and it's not really there.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's there's comments, there's recommendations, there's reviews and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think it should be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that keeps it from being like that is the companies who have innovated in this space, it's been so easy for them to make money for themselves.
It's all about money at the end. I think it is,
keeps
right?
coming up to money.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the barriers.
It's such a barrier because
Yeah.
it's much easier to be a brokerage and just make the money, or to be an ad portal. Like, look at these other sites that gain consumer interest, and then agents are paying upwards of $1,500, $2,000
that's
per
right.
month to be showing up
Yeah.
amongst other realtors, when really we thought the only way to know that it's really genuine, back to your word,
Yeah.
genuine, was that if we remove every benefit of somebody getting connected in the app to ourselves. So, for example, if you get a client connected to you and listed, we don't get any money
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
We don't benefit other than you and them being happy and being connected.
Yeah, there's no conflict of interest. You're
Yeah.
purely a third party kind of thing and just providing the service for us to use.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, which is amazing.
So my idea is that that will pay off in spades, but it only pays off once it's everywhere, because aligning everybody's interest is a natural win-win.
Yeah.
It just requires growth and expansion so that it's everywhere. Because if you just focus on a small area, it's much easier to just conquer that niche, become a brokerage,
Yeah.
be a lead generator, make money on leads.
Yeah.
So I really see us as being everywhere and always committing to only doing what serves the agent-client relationship.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And I think, people see a world where there aren't agents one day, and I just don't see how that's ever going to work.
I think until like AI learns how to feel, once they have emotions, then okay, maybe, but for now, for a long time, I don't think that's going to happen. So agents will
Yeah.
be around for a while, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you need that human touch, right? You
You
need
really
that human
do.
relation with certain things you do. Yeah.
And the other funny thing, which maybe makes AI a little bit human already, is they just make stuff up. If you put in your chat GPT a
Yeah.
question and it doesn't have the answer,
It
it'll
will
make up
find
the
an answer.
most plausible answer.
Yeah.
Which-
It won't say, I don't know.
Yeah, it never.
It will
doesn't
find you an
not
answer.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't rely on it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which are like the younger generation, I don't know what's going to happen, but
I know it's really, really quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because a lot of kids are using, ChatGPT to do their homework and stuff, and I don't even think they
Right.
read it, they just copy and paste it, right?
Yeah, I think what'll be really interesting is when it augments our human being to the point of getting us to ask the right questions and have really intelligent conversations. If it replaces our reasoning, it'll be challenging. But I think for me, the key with technology and listed, for example, when you're using it with a client, isn't that they found the sold data quickly that they wanted to know even. It's that all of a sudden, they're understanding their buying capacity or what they're going to make when they sell so that they can meet their goal of moving somewhere else. So you're actually getting to this top level of Maslow's hierarchy where you're actualizing their goals with them.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's a great tool to kind of bridge two parties, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. So the client and the agent, and you have this tool in the middle that just makes it easier for both sides to understand and learn, exactly what you need, what kind of house that you're looking for.
Exactly. The market binds you. That's your common element. And what's cool is it binds you forever, because once they've found the house or sold and bought somewhere else, they can just sit and this is an asset that is so valuable. They can be following it every now and then. And when they're ready again, they're right there. When they start looking again, then you see their activity pick up and you
Yeah.
can help them right away. So just makes it easy for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just cuts out steps. Yeah.
Now, what do you think's going on with the market, and where do you think we're at with things like interest rates are crazy and
I don't think anyone knows at
Right.
this point, right? I mean, you look at the banks, every bank has a different forecast. So
Right.
no one really knows. I mean, we're talking to people every day. I'm talking to people daily who are struggling. They're afraid when their renewal comes up of continuing to make
happen?
payments. Some of them don't really understand the increase, the rate increase effect on their mortgage.
yeah,
They feel that, oh yeah, it's going to be maybe a couple $100 more, but that's actually not the case depending on when they purchased.
right.
And most of the mortgage that were done just a few years ago, they haven't even been renewed yet. So they're still paying like 2% or under 2% or whatever it is. But by the time they have to renew, I think there's going to be a big shock. Yeah. So it's hard to say. I don't know. But even if the rates come down a little bit, it's still high, much higher than what they got it for, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's going to happen? Anyone's guess, right?
And
It's hard to
then-
say.
I guess depending on what happens with them, that could create a reactive shift in the market if more properties come available because they have to. Maybe
Yep.
some of them have to sell.
Yep. And they're going to drop their prices really fast
Yeah.
because they need to sell. They're competing with other listings coming on the market. So it will probably get worse before it gets better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel.
What changes for you in an up market or a down market? Because I mean, in some ways, I must think like nothing, right?
I mean, good agents are going to create their own market,
Yeah.
but it's still going to be more effort on our end, a little bit more work, right, to convince buyers why it might be a good time to buy now, or sellers why it might be a good time to sell now. Just to sell a property, it's going to take a little bit more effort. So it's more effort on our part, but we will, like the good agents will still have business, they'll still be busy, they'll still be closing deals, but everything's just a little bit more,
Challenging.
challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to really see who.
There's going to be a lot of agents exiting, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of agents joined when the times were good
Yeah.
and they thought it was going to be good forever. And now they're like, holy hell, what's going on right now?
Right.
And even like a lot of people that were here for the seminar today, they were here because they need help. They don't know what to do for 2024.
Yeah.
And that's why I was trying to, what's the best thing I could present today to show them what they can actually do to generate, contacts and leads in business, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually really learned so much from your presentation about how you helped them. And one of the most valuable things that I got out of it was that by you doing the work that looks at those listings that might have been missed or something that someone in an area might not realize that then affects their own value positively, is that you're working a little bit harder to make those unknown gems great for someone else. Like you're actually helping consumers see why it might be a good time to buy right now, even though times are tough. Like there's less competition,
Yeah.
right? It's
exactly.
a higher rate. If they can afford it now, they'll be laughing when they go back
When they go
down.
back down, exactly, yeah.
And they might not have thought of buying.
If we never sparked that conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, because sometimes, there's a lot of times where, things come to fruition when you start the conversation. If there was no conversation, they don't reach out to you because they feel, he's too busy. The agent's too busy. He didn't call me. I'm not going to call him. I don't want to bother him with something like that's not serious.
Right.
Right? Because it's just, when they start thinking about it, it's not serious yet.
They're just looking.
They're just looking or
curious.
like little thoughts about it, but they're not going to reach out to you to actually, spark a conversation because they're not serious about it. They don't want to waste your time.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
And a lot of times another agent, they could have met another agent, right? And the other agent told them, hey, now's a good time. And then they end up going with the other agent because you didn't call them. They thought you were too busy.
Yeah.
But, this other agent just came in at the same time I had this thought, and I'm just going to go with this agent because I don't want to bother the other guy. Right? I'm already
Exactly.
talking to this guy. It seems like it's okay, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just whether it's a bear or a bull market, there are opportunities
There's
in
always
every single
opportunities.
market.
Yeah, exactly. There's always people that need to sell. There's always people that need to buy, right? And Toronto's housing market is, main issue is that we still have very low supply and a lot of immigration. So down the road, we need housing.
We need housing.
That's the main
and we're going to
issue.
see consistently rising
100%, 100%.
prices
Yeah.
regardless.
Once we recover from this and it starts going up, it's going to go up really fast, really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the buyers out there that are waiting for the perfect time to buy, we don't know when that is. It could be now, right? Because maybe things start going back up tomorrow, right? We just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a gamble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that you're always creating these possibilities
Mm-hmm.
for people. And when you don't know what the possibility is, but you're making suggestions and then you're using the app with them, for example, when you use your listed app with them,
Yep.
they make discoveries that then come back to you that might actually help them make a move they didn't know they were going to make.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't, they're living their lives.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about what their house is worth or what that house is worth or what's going on in the market. They're living their lives, they're working, they've got kids, whatever. They're busy, right? Everyone's busy. And sometimes just you sparking that conversation may make them realize, holy smokes, I didn't know, for example, my house was worth, 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Oh, if I knew that, I would have did this, right?
Yeah.
But now that you told them that it is, they will go back and say, oh, hey, they'll go home, talk to their wife. Hey, honey, you know what? Actually, Wilson actually sent me a text today. He actually showed me, like, look what the neighbors sold. They sold for that price. Like, hey, what if we could sell for that price too? And that means we can get a better house or move to that area that we wanted, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it just sparks the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So we are in Toronto.
Yep.
Have you always worked in Toronto? Has your whole career been here? What is your area? What's your how do you work?
Yeah. So I've always been in Toronto. I've come from kind of like my family was always into real estate.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy in the kind of downtown new construction condos market.
Okay.
So I'm very familiar. I'm always downtown. I'm familiar with all the condos down there. I've always worked in like the GTA, basically. So Markham, like York Region,
Yep.
and Toronto. That's basically my like Scarborough. Those are my kind of focal points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So I've always been here.
Good. Well, I know that it's such a pleasure to be able to meet with you because you have not only inspired us with new features in the app,
Yeah. Yep.
but the way that you use it and the way that you work with your clients has actually, triggered us to shape it to make it even better for consumers to use and then, to work with their agents. So we're super grateful to you for being a part of it from the beginning.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And it was so great that I had because if I had never met you, I don't think I would have ever knew about Listed. And
Oh my gosh.
honestly, I would be using House Sigma right now.
Oh my
Another
gosh.
brokerage's app, right? Which is kind of embarrassing, right?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
because we always want to have one step ahead of our clients at least, because we're the professionals, right? So if we don't even have that, then it doesn't make us very professional when our client's more knowledgeable than we are, right? When they can get
Exactly.
information easier than we can.
Right.
And we're supposed to be the professionals.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me. I was like, oh my God, okay. Then I was forced to use these other apps just to be on the ball with them. I
Yeah.
had no other options.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
very big industry failing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think they're bridging the gap of that failing by
Okay.
embracing some of these things like working with a choice of systems and understanding that they don't have to be the ones that create the technology,
Mm-hmm.
but to work with innovative solutions that allow them to then offer that. So I think we're going to see a lot of change because I think they're recognizing that if they don't embrace, especially technologies that support them, they might eradicate them.
Yeah.
So it's actually become super important.
Yeah.
Well, we've been asking agents who use Listed,
Okay.
could you live without Listed?
Now, no. As I said, like if I'd never met you and I wasn't using Listed, I mean, I guess I could live with it, but I would be using the competitor's app,
Which would be terrible.
which I think they're not even allowing agents to use now. So I don't know what I would do, honestly. Yeah. And
Well-
that, like, my whole business would change. It did change, right? Because now it's a lot more contact points with my database. Because I'm getting alerts, right? I'm setting up searches in certain areas where I get alerts, and every time an alert comes out, that gives me a reason to reach out to my past clients.
Right.
Right?
So,
So
it's
it's just-
efficiency,
It's
connection.
it's helping me build my business, right?
Beautiful.
So now that I have it, I can't live without it. So continue what you're doing and don't let it go away.
Okay, I love it. Thank you so much for that.
No problem.
Well, thank you for being here with us today. Is there anything else you want to bring up before we go?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for
Good.
the opportunity. Thank you. And
Thank
thank you for
you.
this app is amazing, and thank you so much for all you do.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, well, we will check in with you again soon.
Sure.
I know, just one last thing I wanted to ask
Okay.
you. Because Listed really is your network working,
Mm-hmm.
have you seen since you got it a growth that's not only come from you, but come from like the clients that are using it? Have you seen it
Yeah,
grow?
yeah. So I think at least maybe two times a week, I do get people signed up. Some of them are private, but
Yeah.
at least I know it's working.
Yeah.
Like someone's signing up, right?
Yeah.
And they're seeing my name on things,
And
which
connecting.
is great.
Good.
Right? So it's working, and I've done business with clients through the app,
Great.
right? So it's actually worked out, tenfold. And
Super.
It's amazing. Yeah, yeah. So it works.
That is so good. Actually, I was talking with a colleague of yours, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
we were talking about business models, which
Okay.
is like one of my favorite things to talk about.
Sure.
You mentioned this competitor app a number of times, and what's interesting is that their business model is based on attracting consumers as leads so they can then hire agents to their brokerage who can't get business, take a 50-50
50 cut. Yep.
cut.
Yep.
So, I mean, imagine saying to an agent, you're not certain that you can get business, so you're going to join a brokerage where you start with basically a half tank of gas,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're getting a client, you're doing a deal, and then instead of paying, $1,000 or so a year to have listed as an agent,
Mm-hmm.
you're paying $20,000 for a single deal to your
It's crazy,
brokerage
yeah.
to do one deal. Like,
It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
how does the math work there?
It doesn't, and that's why I know there's a few agents that I've talked to that they're leaving House Sigma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like it doesn't make sense.
If everyone used listed, brokerages with this business model wouldn't stay in business.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be interesting.
I think
to see what
eventually
happens.
it'll be a matter of time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah.
On that note, I do want to say part of what we contributes
Mm-hmm.
to data standards for everyone, even our competitors. So I don't consider a brokerage our competitor. I consider if there was somebody else who wanted to create a tool for agent-client collaboration, they'd be our competitor.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of room for competitors, and
Yeah.
competitors make us be great, right?
Yeah,
Make
because
us-
you want to find
even how
out
you
better
said
features
They have
to
the schools.
compete.
You need the schools.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It just keeps you.
Keeps
giving
pushing
the-
you.
keeps
Yeah, because if
pushing
there's no
us.
competition, you're just comfortable.
You're just comfortable.
You're like, okay, we don't need to make any changes because we're good. We're the only one, right?
And maybe that's what happened at the real estate board level for a little while, right?
Yeah.
You just got comfortable,
Yeah, yeah.
and then technology disrupted
Well,
that.
well, industries don't like change, right? When things are going okay, you're like, okay, just keep it the way it is,
Yeah.
and no disruptions.
And then the status quo changes that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, when information needs to be free, you, like, I think it was you this morning that said, if ChatGPT isn't an app on the front of your phone, you're already behind.
Yeah, and that was from Tom Ferry.
Oh, wow.
That was one big thing that
Yeah.
that was my takeaway, right? That when he did his big annual meet, that was the one, he had like, I don't know, 30, 40,000 people in this audience.
Yeah.
And he asked who has ChatGPT
Yeah.
on their phones, and then a bunch of hands went up. Who has it on their main screen? Only
Right.
very little.
Right.
So he said, okay, everyone else, you're falling behind. It has to be on your front screen. So he made everyone do it right on the spot. Download it right now, put it on your front screen. Right?
Oh my
Because if
gosh.
it's not on your front screen, you're not gonna use it. That's it. You're only using what's on your front screen, right?
Totally, totally. I love that. Actually, I remember last Christmas.
Listed is on my front screen.
Is it? That's so great.
Yeah.
I remember last Christmas, I woke up, I was so excited. I got on Discord and got ChatGPT, and I was like, I think this thing's going to be huge. I was super, super
When it first came out.
excited about it.
Yeah.
And now I can't believe, of course, like someone like Tom Ferry is telling everyone to get it.
Yeah.
And just as a closing here, that is what I saw in your eyes when I showed you listed. I saw that you saw,
That was the same thing for me.
Yeah,
like
for your business.
Because it's going to change the way I do business.
yeah,
Same thing that AI is doing now, that's going to change, and I need to get on it and learn it and use it to my advantage, because why wouldn't I, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Anything you could do to get a competitive edge or give better customer service,
yeah, absolutely.
you should do it, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we want with Listed. We made Listed to give you a competitive edge
Yeah.
and help your clients have the best tool.
Help more
Through
people
you.
with less,
Help
because
more
we only
people.
have so much time to help
Yeah.
people. So there's only so much people you can help in that amount of time. But when something comes along that can make things a lot more efficient, I can now help more people, right? And that's what technology should do. Yeah.
That's great.
it. Yeah.
Wilson, thank you so much for being with us.
No problem. Thank you so much.
If you are at all interested in real estate, all you need to do is download Listed below, get Wilson, and you'll be well on your way to prosperity.
Thank you.